Welcome to Drive for Service, a podcast to inspire a higher quality of service. Wishing you all a very warm welcome to our next episode of Drive for Service podcast. I'm Amy Morant and I'm here with my very good friend of 14 years, David O'Connor, co-owner of Medlar Restaurant in Chelsea.
Hello, everyone.
Now, David and I have worked for many years in customer service and most of those together in restaurants. And we've always been very interested in how the magic ingredients that form exceptional customer service. Now, David and I are here today to discover from the industry's leaders how they deliver a level of service that isn't just good, but goes above and beyond. David, would you like to introduce today's guest?
Be delighted to, yes. So this week we'd like to welcome Jesus Adorno, who is the maitre d' for 38 years at La Caprice. Welcome, Jesus.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Glad to be here.
No, thank
Amazing.
you, yeah.
Tell us about your career story. How did you start in this
Right.
industry?
When I arrived to England 51 years ago, I came as a 19-year-old with the idea of coming over to London for a couple of years, moved to Paris a couple of years, moved to Munich for a couple of years, go back home, teach 3 languages. 51 years later, I'm still in London.
I've heard quite a few stories like that.
I've been to Paris many times. I haven't been anywhere in Germany at all, which makes me a bit sad because I have very good customers, friends of mine from there. They always invite me. So I arrived as a 19-year-old from Bolivia. I was born in Bolivia on the parts of the Amazon lowlands of Bolivia, which is hot and humid, lush, green, beautiful, friendly people. And I came to England on the 1st of December 1972 when it was a bitter cold. So, of course, I arrived at night. And the guy who had found me a job from the agency waited for me at the airport, and he took me to Slough to stay overnight there. And from there, I went to my first ever job in England, downside school in Somerset, which that was an amazing eye opener for me, and I was in charge of taking trays of food to the borders. And I've always remembered that with a smile on my face, because every time I went into the dining room, the borders would see me and they went wild, crazy, clapping because I was bringing their food. And of course, that brought me smiles. I said, wow, they're happy to see me. I didn't realize at the time they were happy to see the food. So that was my initial. And from there, after about 8 months, I came over to a place down in Beaconsfield called the Saracen's Head. And naturally, I was 21, and I started washing pots and plate. And it was one of the most difficult times of my youth, because I never washed a plate or pot back in Bolivia, because you don't normally do that, unfortunately. Your mom has or your sister does, but you just do very little, especially all those years back. So I started working at washing pots and plates, mountains of plates. And after 3 months, the restaurant manager said to me, come on to the floor, you'll be our commie. What a relief, to come onto the floor, because I was seeing people. So I was in charge of the dessert trolley. The dessert trolley was on the old days, 3 layers with tin fruits, most of them, or gachos or this and that, sherry trifle, profiteroles. And one particular Saturday night, as we had dinner dance there, I was pushing the trolley, and everyone was waiting around the tables. And as I was pushing the whole trolley somehow, because I pushed it too hard, it collapsed onto the dancing floor. I was so frightened. I said, "Oh, I've done something wrong. They're going to. I'm going to lose the job. I'm going to go back to Bolivia." And so I hid in the pantry, and the restaurant manager, and a Spanish restaurant manager, came over to me after 2 minutes and said something that showed me the importance of leadership, good management skills. He said to me, "Come on, come out and help us clear it. It's not the first time it happens. It happens every so often, but come on, we'll help you to clear it." I think my soul came back to my body because I said, "Wow, beautiful. I want to be like him." So from there, I moved as a waiter to a place down in Amersham, the Mill Stream. And again, I was 23. I was happy. I was naturally almost like a zebra jumping from table to table, clearing this and talking to people. And I enjoyed that, seeing that people were happy to see me. Naturally, I didn't realize at the time that still they wanted the plates of food or the glass of wine or the glass of the gin and tonic, not just me. So but that was nice. From Amersham, I came over to Fredericks in the Angel, Camden Passage. And Mr. Siegel, lovely man, I stayed there for again for a few months, almost a year. And I've learned about silver service. I've learned how to, look after customers a lot more. And from Fredericks, I came over to Au Jardin de Gourmet, a restaurant from Joseph Bergman, the wine guy. And I was there for a few months. And we were short, funny enough, we were short of coffee spoons. I asked the manager a few occasions, "Sir, we need some coffee spoons. We don't have enough." Say, I'll get you some. So after 2 or 3 weeks, Mr. Bergman came in with a journalist to be interviewed over lunch. And of course, I was cheeky. I was a little bit naughty. And when they asked for the coffee, I gave him 1 coffee spoon. I didn't give the guest coffee spoon. He called me over. "Waiter." "Yes, sir." "You forgot a coffee spoon for my guest." I said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Bergman, but we haven't got any coffee spoons in the premises." Within 3 hours, I had my coffee spoons. So it taught me also, of course,
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't told off,
Yeah.
because the manager knew that I had asked him. I was trying to always please my customers, and that sometimes to the detriment of being told off by my superior. But luckily it didn't happen. From Au Jardin de Gourmet, who sadly closed down many years ago, I went to Inigo Jones. And the Inigo Jones is what I call my university, my catering college, because there was one of the nicest restaurants in central London. I was there 4.5 years, learning how to debone a double sole, how to do steak Diane, how to do crêpe success. So I was in my element, because naturally, again, people look at you, customers look at you, and you're trying to show off that you can do this and that, and that, they love you, they smile, and they say thank you and all that. So I enjoy that. I mean, for me, it was, and from Inigo Jones in 1981, I read this piece in the Evening Standard by Nicholas Coleridge, Sir Nicholas Coleridge, who is one of my most amazing, wonderful customers friend that followed me throughout after Le Caprice. And he wrote a beautiful double spreadsheet that Le Caprice was going to reopen after a few years of closure. And the main shareholders were Joseph Etegui from the Joseph Shop, and Chris Corbin from Langan, and Jeremy King from Joe Allen. So that was I loved it when I went in. black and white. Never worked on black and white restaurant, black and white photographs, David Bailey's. And I never worked with a long bar, 12 seaters at the bar. And it was magical, And I call that the 80s were the decade of very much happiness throughout the world, I guess. Certainly in the industry was fun. It wasn't naturally, as a proprietor, you wanted to make money. But at the same time, you were not squeezing, the last drop of the bottom line to you just want the customers to come along and make X amount of profit every year, and there was happiness. Sadly, when COVID started, Richard Kering, the government closed every business, of course. And then in June 2020, Richard Kering called me to his office to say, I'm closing down Le Caprice forever.
Wow.
And that was a shock because I wasn't expecting it. And he paid off everyone else except me. He asked me to stay on furlough until we find a new site for Le Caprice. Again, a bigger site. I was totally dumbstruck. I was upset. My team were upset because I think we all were a little bit not knowing what was happening.
Yeah.
Present and future. And by November of 2020, I went to see Richard Kering and I said, Richard, I'd like to work, because there were some restaurants being open now through the pandemic. And Richard said, no, stay on furlough because I don't have a site for you. I said, but Richard, you have a site. You already bought 2 sites. I said, they're not for you. So I had to say, listen, Richard, I don't want to be on furlough. I want to work. And he said, if you don't want to be on furlough, give me your notice and I pay you a year's salary. I said, put it on writing. Don't you trust me? Please put it on writing. And because I was director of Caprice Holdings, I had quite a strong say on Caprice Holdings restaurants, more or less. So I got the email from HR, and the next day I had one of the worst nights of my life because after 38 years and 7 months, you want to create or to leave behind a proper ongoing restaurant, not just, close and out. By May, June, I was approached by Rocco Forte to come over to see him and discuss the possibility of taking over Charlie's. 6-7 years previously, I had gone to see Rocco. He asked me to go and see him in his office. And he offered me Charlie's at that time, which had a new Italian chef, German, but with Italian cuisine. At the time, I said to Rocco, I'm so sorry, I'm not ready to move out yet. Thank you very much for thinking of me, but I'd like to go do in Le Caprice 40 years. That was my end goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And but this time he came back. He was in my patch, in my neighborhood, Mayfair, St. James's, and I said yes, I'd like to work with you. So I went to see. I went to see the GM of the hotel, and we started from there. The thing that was a little bit, they were not prepared. The hotel were not prepared for the almost like a tsunami of people coming to the restaurant. Mm-hmm. I never worked in a hotel, and my lovely age was 68 at the time. I started, but it became a success after a few months. By working physically and mentally, I lost 8 kilos, wow, which I haven't yet come back to beat on my old weight. But I enjoy it because I knew that my customers, because Le Caprice had closed down, would come over to see me at Charlie's, and it was a no-brainer because the restaurant itself is beautiful, square. And for me, a square restaurant means that every table is a hot table, more or less. I did manage to persuade Olga Polizzi and Roccoforte to give the place a bit of a change few tables and change few configurations. At the beginning, they were reacting against it, and then they did agree, and the end result was a busy restaurant for lunches and dinners. And as I said to Roccoforte also when I was leaving, and the MD was Stuart Johnson, who interviewed me for the job. And I said, this restaurant, Charlie's, could have been my wonderful retirement job, because to do 80 customers for lunch on a big room, it is a piece of cake. To do 80 for dinner in a big room, it's a piece of cake. You know, like Caprice, we used to do 100 for lunch, 85 to 100 for lunch on a normal, regular basis, Monday to Friday, and 150, 180 for dinner. So we had to work our butts. But when the offer from Jeremy King came over to go back to Le Caprice at New Arlington, I went like Flash Gordon. Yes, yes, because I wanted to finish my 40th year, although with a different name, but the same location and the same looks, the same menu. But sadly, of course, it didn't work out for me. It didn't fit. I decided to move on. What I gave Jeremy was my ex-head chef, who was my last head chef in the Caprice for 7 years previously. And he's taking over as a head chef there. And then I gave him also my pianist, who plays there Monday to Friday, larger than life. He's, he called himself Maestro Loco. So but everyone loved him. But everyone loved him, from Jules Hollands, from McCartney, from everyone that comes in, they loved him because he plays, looking at the sky or the ceiling, plays anything, anything you want, anything you ask him to do. So I gave him those two from the old Caprice. I got him also a very nice restaurant manager who has worked in Caprice Holdings, and then also he worked at Wolseley, he worked at Shikis, and he was the restaurant manager at 45 German Street. And but again, I also gave him, I gave the restaurant Arlington my senior restaurant manager who was with me at Le Caprice for 28 years. Portuguese called José Silva. And unfortunately, he left 2 weeks after I left. I told David early on, has been the most wonderful experience to be chased and asked by a few restaurateurs and the hotel owners or hotel directors to join the company. Yes, I'm taking my time. This time I'm not rushing back. I'm not doing a la Arlington, like I went back. Yes. Pay me anything. Don't care. So I am excited, very excited. My customers are excited to see where I move next. Where am I going to go next? And I think it'll be a fabulous time when that happens. But I'm not rushing. Could be the whole summer. Maybe I'm going to be off work because I want to do it. I mean, it's the first time in 51 years I've taken 6-7 weeks so far without working. Which is
it's time of reflection. Yeah.
Wow, beautiful. But also, luckily, I can afford not to work.
Yeah.
I'm cushioned on that side.
Yeah.
So that's also that peace of mind that you don't have to take the first job that I got offer. I got a couple of restaurants that they want me to do part-time. I'm thinking about it, but I'm a full-time guy. I love to be there when you come along, at least to be seen there to make sure that the service is top-notch. Because, as David, you have heard this many times, that when you're on, I think the staff, they get a lot more attention to detail. When you're off, they are laid back a little bit. It's the nature of all of us. So that for me is also important to be present as long as possible wherever I move next.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that moves us on to our next question. We'd like to hear your thoughts on front of house and the importance of the success of any restaurant or business.
Yes.
I'm sure you have some amazing philosophies on this and what drives forward.
Well, I'll tell you what I always love to watch our customers' body language.
Yeah.
As of when they walk in, literally, or when they hear them, if I answer the phone for bookings. Now, of course, lately, there's a lot more online bookings. But, I think the crucial tool that we have, and I hope we don't lose altogether, is the phone the restaurant, speak to a person, and then that, the Maître d', the owner, whoever answer the phone, then will embrace that customer from the very moment they call in, or from the very moment they walk in. And if you have, as I said, if you have a doorman, which I did, put a doorman after Corbin and King sold the restaurant to Luke Johnson, the company to Luke Johnson, I decided to put a doorman, and I told the doorman, these are the people that we know very well. I want you to greet them. I want to look at them. I want to say, good evening. The doorman was only at night. Good evening, Mr. or Mrs. Welcome, nice to see you back. Priceless for me. And my philosophy of service would be precisely happy staff, happy customers. And the way I try to, and which is somewhere around here, the way that I try to achieve that is myself to get closer to my younger colleagues, to talk to them every day, 2 or 3 minutes, about the importance of what our customers coming over for. I believe that people love to go to restaurants because they recognize a friendly proprietor, they recognize a friendly maître d', they recognize a friendly doorman, they recognize a friendly waiter. And if we can have the icing on the cake, which is to try to get the head chef out into the restaurant to say hello to customers, then that's the icing on the cake, because customers enjoy that. Yeah.
When you talk about body language, is that something that you have developed from your experience, or you had before? Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah.
And do you feel that you can teach that to somebody, or?
Well, I think I can talk to my young colleagues about it, and I can drill it about the importance of that, because I feel that customers sometimes, they don't tell you until the last moment when they're leaving, or they tell you when they're sending you a letter or an email.
Yeah, I think body language is very important,
Indeed.
Especially for anticipating.
Indeed. And you can walk around the room, and that's not easy. It's not very hard to walk a room if you are a manager, a maître d', or a waiter, because we don't have most restaurants don't have 100 tables, 20, 30 max, 15. And then I said, don't just go back into the kitchen when you clear a table. Just look around, make yourself look around, because when you walk back and don't look around, you might miss something from this customer's body language. So for me, I've learned that through some of an incident that I had many years ago. The Ivy has just been opened a year or two. So Chris and Jeremy were there most of the time. And I was left to look after the service. And they would come at 2:00 or something, or 1:30. And I had a very important and very well-known man who came along for lunch. I knew him fairly well. And I look at my reservation sheet. I look at him. I look down again. And I said, "Sir, are you the guest?" I said, "No." And I said, "I'm sorry, sir, I don't see your name." You can see the body language that he was getting a little bit upset. "How dare you," he said. "My PA secretary never makes a mistake." I said, "I'm so sorry, sir, but I don't have a single empty table right now." Yes, I think again the body language was that he was very upset. So he stormed out, and I was left literally shaking a little bit. Within a few seconds, I walked the restaurant, and one of the table right at the back asked me for the bill. I rushed out to try to get him, but he already gone into the Ritz. So that showed me also that if I see a customer upset that they claim they had a booking, which could be that we made a mistake too, never to say never straight away, even though the restaurant could be fully booked, no empty tables. You walk the room rather than tell somebody else, can you check if anyone is paying? You just have to walk the room yourself to make sure that if something is coming up, then you know it, and then you please the customer. So that body language that from this gentleman was that he was a very upset customer, and that he sent a fax, I remember, to Jeremy King complaining about my service, that I didn't look after him, I was embarrassed in front of my guest. Jeremy, thankfully, he wrote a fax back, and I kept all these memoirs. I'm so sorry that you feel this way about Jesus, because he will do everything possible for our customers. Must have been a misunderstanding, But on the fax that he sent to Jeremy was, "I will never go back to that place while he's there," meaning me. Harsh, but took that as a learning episode, that if I see that body language that is not happy, try to do something about it. And that was one of my philosophies.
It's a very difficult moment, and I think it's happened in all restaurants. It's a regular occurrence where you have someone turn up and you don't have their booking. That horrible moment where your stomach drops. How am I going to fix this moment? And I don't know how many times I've heard the same words of, "My PA never makes a mistake." Yeah. I've heard that one so many times, and you go, it doesn't change the fact that we don't have the booking.
That's a classic, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's a classic.
Yeah, and you just kind of, you have to take it on the chin. But I remember so many times, David, where we've had customers come in with that table and you've gone, "Don't worry." And you just sat them down on a table and I've gone, "Well, I've got to look at my book, and it's always worked out.
There's always a solution.
Always worked out, hasn't
Sit
it?
them down, and then we'll
sit
deal
them
with
down
the problem
and deal
ourselves.
with it later.
That's right.
Yeah, and maybe just pass on the problem to the very very last
it
table.
always worked out, though, didn't
it
it?
always worked out. You always got someone to ask for the bill.
I had another incident, another night in Caprice 10 years ago. This wonderful American fella came in. The bar was packed, 12 seats, restaurants packed, piano playing happily, the music. And they said, "Jesus?" I said, "Yes." You know that every time I come to London, my first port of call is Le Caprice for my fix of a steak tartare. I know that, yes. But I didn't make a booking, sir. Come on. I always pop in, you always find me a place. Sorry, I have nothing at the moment.
Yeah.
Come on, you do. He was teasing me. Then out of the blue, I thought, I said to my guys, get me a folded legs table as soon as possible now. And one of the whites came along, put it next to the piano, between the piano and the desk. And the guy sat there, had his steak tartare. He left £50 cash for the boys and girls. Happy. Thank you very much. He says, I knew you wouldn't let me down.
You never know.
Next evening, again he popped in. I said, now I don't care if you are fully booked. Can I have my table? So that meant that he became, again, a customer through life.
Yeah.
So I call that my royal table.
Well, I guess that moves us on nicely to your thoughts on, I'm sure you're an expert on this, is developing regulars through customer relations.
Yeah. I had, because you cannot be all the time on the floor, looking after everyone, it's impossible. I have some ladies in Le Caprice on their monthly ladies' lunches. Beautiful ladies, whom I know them, I love them. I'm grateful for their being customers of ours. But I also knew that they wanted service. They don't want to mess around. They don't want to be kept waiting too long for drinks, food, everything. So I said to every so often I said to one of my young colleagues, listen, that table is yours. I don't want them to wait for drinks. I don't want to wait for food. I want you to be on top of it. I want them to eat out of your hands. After a few times, it almost became irrelevant because they would come to be seen, to be look after this head waitress. So I empowered these young people to make sure that they feel for the customer, they feel an affinity where they will see them as I say often to my young ones, our customers pay our salaries. Our salaries pay rental, clothes, everything it comes from them. So we got to make sure that we look after them. And I think they got that wonderful expression, like a Caprice team, that they almost knew everyone that would come in. And they all help each other. They have 3 sections, plus kitchen runner, bartender, helper. But they all work as a team to make sure that the customers were well looked after and with a smile on their faces. I enjoy giving advice as much as possible to my young ones. And one of the things that make me very proud, humble proud, that throughout the years that I was in Le Caprice, I never had a problem with being taken to a tribunal, because my relationship with these guys, they were solid, friendly, I admire them, they admire me, then we all work for the same goal to please our customers. And that's what I think it's supposed to be all the time.
I like this idea of empowering your team.
Exactly.
To make them feel like they're in charge of those customers.
Exactly. Because also, as you get older, you want to leave something behind.
Yeah.
So that when you don't work, at least you go back for a drink or you go back for something, they greet you as a good friend. They happy to see you. They want to know what's happening. And to me, they continue that relationship with customers.
Well, it moves us on to our next question, which is how you build and motivate your teams.
Very simple. Very simple for me, luckily. When I come in at 10 o'clock in the morning, I will say hello to every person in the restaurant, in the kitchen, pot washers. I shake their hands and I say, hello, how are you? That doesn't take more than 10 minutes saying hello to everyone. When I come back in the evenings, 6:30 or 7 o'clock, I already see that some customers are waiting for me to go and say hello. But again, I go to my team first, shake hands with everyone, tell them how they are, walk on to the kitchen, speak to the chef, say hello to the chef, and with the kitchen porters too. So I will always motivate as much as I can to my young ones. Naturally, we're not infallible. Sometimes we do a little bit of human nature is occasionally you get a little bit flustered or you get a little bit upset. So, with someone from the team. And I use this expression every so often on meetings. There are a few things that I hate, one or two things that I hate in life. And one of them is having a cowboy waiter on the floor. Some of them new ones said to me, what do you mean a cowboy waiter? I said, well, someone that actually only think of this place as another job. They come in to do like a robot. They don't feel for the customers. They only feel for themselves. They cut corners, instead of doing everything by the book. So I love to see where they can build themselves. Where can they be themselves within a year of them starting in the restaurant? Will they continue to be a waiter? Will they go up in the ladder of the point system, service trunk system that we have? I think every restaurant has. And I will always say every person that comes into the restaurant within 3 to 6 months should go a point up. Mm-hmm. And then again, 3 or 6 months, up to 7 points. From 7 points, they are potential material for head waiters, managers. And again, I say to them every so often, I don't want you to be here like me for 30 odd years. I want you to spread your wings. Mm-hmm. Now you know about the service from the Caprice style. Mm. Then you can spread your wings to be as a manager, head waiter somewhere else, to show them what you've learned here. And they love that. Mm. And they love that. And don't want to push them out, because it will be silly to push out someone that you really is a key part of your service. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I want them to grow. I want them to feel that there is a future in hospitality.
Yeah.
It's not like, as I said to them, people like me don't exist anymore. Because we're the old guard, we are not IT literate 100%, mm-hmm. But we got the passion, we got the ambition to move up, and we have the vision, like I did, where do I want to see myself in a year or 2 or 3 years' time? And I want them to feel exactly the same, to have that, to understand the essence of this, of what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would love to have more British people in the industry. I think it's coming along a bit more, but not enough to my personal thinking. Hospitality is an amazing opportunity to grow also your circle of friends. From a lot more variety from different nationalities, which you cannot get sometime in an ordinary job. You know, you meet customers, you need colleagues, you need, you learn to speak pidgin Italian, pidgin Portuguese or German or French,
Yeah.
So that's beautiful.
Yes.
For me, they are my present and my future to give them the encouragement.
When you're hiring people, is there any particular qualities that you look for when you first meet people? Because it sounds like you're very good at reading body language,
Yes.
reading people. Is there anything particularly that you tend to look for when you're interviewing somebody?
When I'm interviewing someone, the first indication of how I see this person, man or woman, is if they arrive on time, if they have read a little bit about the company, if they have a bottle opener, because not all restaurants they got a sommelier. But I think as I used to say to my guys, coming to work, to the waiters, come to work without a bottle opener, it's almost like a shoemaker without a hammer to,
Yeah.
So you got to be prepared always.
Always be prepared to open a bottle of wine. Sounds like a good philosophy.
Do you know something? Because sometimes everyone could be busy.
Yes.
But someone cannot be busy.
Yeah.
So if that bottle of wine that the customer is looking at it, and the ice buckets or just on top of the bar, waiting to go to the table, so that's why you say, don't waste time.
Yeah.
So, Jesus, I'd like to know what you did with the cowboys that you mentioned earlier.
Oh, lovely. Yes. Do you know something? I had my own voice of persuasion. I had few of them in my career in Caprice, and but one of them is a classic example of a wonderful man. Late 30s, already a manager or head waiter, and but he had his head in doing some business online from China. So he was off the floor when he was meant to be on the floor 7-8 years ago. On his phone, placing the orders for and he was a bit cocky, good looking chap, little taller, so nice shape. So I go to think what I do after this. I said, fine, fair enough. I said, think about what you're going to do after this. But while you're here, we got customers, and I'm not very happy for you to carry on looking at your phone while on duty, because you're not paid for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to him almost every week, exactly the same, until of course he realized that I was going to get him out because it was a hindrance to the service. The rest of the team, they were looking at him, how will he get away with it? No, cannot get away with it, because you employed these people, the owner employs me to make sure the customer get first class service. So I got few of those cowboys with gentle persuasion. But I said, luckily no one ever said I've been dismissed by.
Well, let's go back to the bottle opener.
Always a good place to start.
The role of the sommelier in wine service in general. Your thoughts on that? I'm not sure we had a sommelier at Caprice.
No, we never had one.
Yeah,
we never had one. We had one at Charlie's.
Yeah,
I think the sommelier it is an important, very important person in a restaurant business, because with his or her persuasion, his knowledge of the wines from all over the world, can make the customer feel happier to see someone, to hear someone that knows what they're going to drink. I had 2 sommeliers at Charlie's. First one that I inherited. He, lovely chap, but he was trying to oversell wine, but sometimes to the detriment of the service itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, if you spend 10 or 15 minutes with one table, when there's another 15 tables waiting for your knowledge, then I think it misses the point of service. That's why the bottle opener is important. Because if it's a bottle of red house wine, Chablis, then you can do that at the proper way. That's why we had to train waiters, and we did train every so often. Wine reps will come over to Le Caprice to give us, every 2 months to give us a lesson of different wines. I think, I do admire some sommeliers. The other night I went to a restaurant, and this lovely lady, sommelier, gave me the wine list, and please let me know if you need some help. Thank you very much. And but I look at the wine list, quite large, and I choose something that it was Chablis Premier Cru. That I understand it, that I enjoy it, but it wasn't over the top price range.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, the sommelier came all over. I said, "What do you think of this wine?" I said, "My wife is having this. My guest is having this. I'm having this." I said, "That's lovely, sir. Perfect. Yeah, you'll enjoy that," which I did. But you see, I also felt that lady knew what she was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
She was happy to make customer happy. And a great sommelier, cunning hands, of course, the profits of the restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
You can see sometimes the hedge funds, they will not go for £90 bottle of wine. They will go for 200 or 300 pounds bottle of wine, because they are used to drink that sort of wine. Mm-hmm. So then you have to go that way. Yeah, I like it.
It's about reading the table again. Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah.
So if we were working for you, what 3 non-negotiables would you expect from David and I?
I think I would say my mantra of these 3 phrases that I always use are the passion that you have for the job itself, the vision to see yourself successful as a restaurant owner or as a manager, and to have the ambition to make our customers coming back to eat out of your hands.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Mm.
A passion, vision, and ambition.
Yeah.
Where you feel.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Jesus, tell us about your role in the industry now. What are you up to these days?
I am forever reasons being told a few times, especially since I left Arlington, that I am an iconic brand with service, and that I love always to join a company, a restaurant, where I can give the young ones my philosophy, which it will become their philosophy, to greet and meet and say goodbye to our customers. To me, that's the most important aspect of our industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I want them to see me, and as I said sometimes to them, what I achieve coming to England, being in London, and being Bolivian born, which I always make this comment. It's not like you are Argentinian or you're Mexican, or you are Spanish, or the culture, of course, of a backward country like it was Bolivia all those years back. It makes me a very happy, humble man to achieve what I achieve through my grit, through my passion for looking after customers, to make them feel as important as the princess or the taxi driver. And for many years, I didn't know what was your job. To me, you were my customer. I realized that perhaps I was more naive because it's so important to know what your customers do. But at the time, because, Mr. Smith or Mr. Ogilvy could be related to the Queen, or the Mr. Brown could be being a taxi driver. It didn't matter. But because he gave me an opportunity to look after everyone exactly the same.
Yeah.
I should know it now onwards, that we got to know, as much as possible about our customers' background. It's hugely important. But my nature of service was precisely that my customers were my customers, and for you to come back by the thousands, every month and every year, it was like a God gift to me.
Yeah.
So I did it. But nowadays, of course, the young one has to learn everything to do with IT, everything to do with back of house, everything to do about with marketing and PR, because it's our world is a lot more competitive.
Yeah.
So you need to have do a full circle rather than being a square, and then you can see. Then you can build your future as a restaurateur, as a hotelier, or as a manager. That's how I feel.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Nice.
Is there anything that you'd like to ask us?
Yes, I do. Naturally, I heard of Medlar. I haven't been lucky enough yet to be there. I heard of Medlar quite a few times. And I am very excited to come over and to see the operation. I'm very, David, how long have you been in the business?
Pretty much all my life. My parents had a restaurant in a place called The Wirral near Merseyside.
Yes.
So I grew up in a restaurant, and then professionally since I was 17. So it's, I don't know how many years is that? 30 years maybe?
In London?
I moved to London in 1998, and I've been here ever since, yeah. I worked in country house hotels as well, outside London, and then I worked for Terence Conran originally. And then I worked for Nigel Platts-Martin for 12 years before opening my own business.
Yes. Yeah, Nigel, lovely man.
Absolutely.
I remember him.
I'd love to get him on the podcast.
I met him when in the old place opposite near St. James's.
Yes.
The old place.
He used to have, the square used to be in St. James's.
That's right.
Originally.
That's right, yeah.
Before moving to Bruton Street.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you, of course, you're part of hospitality through and through.
Yeah. Well, I've always worked in customer service, but not necessarily in restaurants. Started off just selling phones and
I first hired Amy. She was working at Virgin Atlantic at the time. And I hired her at the Square restaurant, and she actually taught me a lot about customer service, because they also have a big philosophy on customer service. It was different to what we were doing at the Square, but the same thing. It's all about the customer. And I think I've been inspired by the work you did there and what you learned there.
You.
And it's all
I did that for
connected.
a short time, and then found David.
Of course, the way I look at both of you also, you have miles of years ahead.
Yes.
I think that's the one thing from doing this.
I still want to do it. I still want to do it for miles of years ahead.
Yeah,
for sure.
there is so much more to learn always about restaurants and customer service and how to. And like you said, there's so much more nowadays that the industry moves on. But I really connected to what you said earlier about. I hope that people still phone restaurants, because as a reservations manager, you know, I got a lot out from talking to the customers, just making the bookings and them looking forward to coming to the restaurant and me being there, you know, to greet them. And, you know, that part of the service, I hope, is never going to be lost, from being able to go on your phone and just make a quick restaurant booking at several different restaurants.
For me, I said the relationship with customers started with a phone call, a text, a WhatsApp. You know, and looking back on my own family, my eldest two daughters, they were not cut out to be in the industry. My eldest daughter went over to Rome for a gap year, and I helped her halfway, and I said to her, you have to also find yourself a little job. So she got herself 3 nights a week working at a trattoria. After a few weeks, I called her, and she said, Papa, yes, my love, my legs are hurting me. Oh, I said, that happened to me every day. And she said, Papa, I want sympathy. My second daughter, Monica, wanted to go to Africa to do a gap year. And I said, you have Latin American roots. Go to Latin America. So she went over. So none of them followed me, because I knew that I guess they saw me through their childhood, how hard I was working, and and but also again now the last few years they are so proud of what I achieve, or what I'm still achieving, you know, because you can do so much in the hospitality. You know, you can make or break a restaurant.
Yes.
If you are good, you'll enhance it.
Yeah.
If you are mediocre, Metro D, you'll ruin it.
Yes.
So you got to be, and we have to put, David has to put the best person on that job.
Yes.
You know, to give them the biggest smile, the biggest welcoming, the nice phone manners, to say, I embrace you, come in.
I mean, any restaurant is only as good as the staff that work in it, in my opinion.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Yep. Happy staff, happy customers.
Yeah.
You know.
Brilliant. Okay. Just finish with some quick fire round. Okay. Best service ever received.
I'll tell you, the best service that I ever had was, I went over with Mark Hicks, Des McDonald, and John Hutton, who used to...
from F...
That's right. From Berry Brothers.
He's a Medlar regular, actually.
Yeah, lovely man. Lovely man. But because Caprice Holdings was buying so much wine, I think, a lot of wine, from him, and that we inherited him from Corwin and King, from 81. And he took us to New Zealand and Australia on a two weeks wine trip. And one of the owners of the vineyard in New Zealand took us to a fjord, onto the helicopter, near the fjords, and then they had a boat. While we were in the boat, admiring the whole scenery, for me, like, wow, that was a dream, to me. And one of the guys went down to get some fish. And within half an hour, we were eating a freshly caught fish ceviche, with a lovely New Zealand wine, Sauvignon. To me, that was the best ever service I ever had. From nature to the plate. Mark Hicks prepared the ceviche. Unforgettable. Unforgettable service. Beautiful. I loved it.
Sounds awesome.
yeah. Honestly, I thought it was. I thought I was in heaven. Never again.
Anyone in the industry that inspires you?
Yes, I had a few of my little same age, a little older than me. One of them was the first guy that I told you that when I was a comic waiter, Sergio, his name, Spaniard. I said, wow, he could have thrown me out of a job. Then I had another amazing man called Colin Livingston, who he was the restaurant manager at Inigo Jones. The way he looked after customers, the way he talked to them, the way he knew about, the whole place, in Covent Garden, to me was magical listening to him. He was what I would call the first person that wanted to be like him. Customer relation, beautiful.
Yeah.
Then I have Chris Corbin and Jeremy King, naturally. Chris was more customer and staff oriented. Customers loved him. And the staff also, he had time for the staff, which was very nice. Jeremy was the organizer. That lovely business partners. And I learned a lot from them. And then, of course, I put my little Latin American, style. This other person that I do admire hugely, and she was the first woman chef who had her own restaurant, Clark's, Sally Clark.
Yes.
Who this year she'll be 40. The most wonderful, friendly, kind restaurateur, that he can relate to his team in the kitchen, to her team in the floor, and customers. And that's the longevity of her restaurant. It's a good sign of how good she is. Yeah.
Nice. Favorite wine?
Favorite one, I would say a very nice Pauline de Montrachet. Nice and chill. I love it. Occasionally, I do a splash when I go to not in the restaurant, but when I buy it from the Wine Society, or when I buy it from Majestic or Waitrose. Yeah, I love that. And I think it's magical when that first sip, second sip, third sip. Yeah, I love it.
A book that inspires you?
One that I always remember from my beautiful mother. We were brought up Protestant, and quite a strict Protestant, Seventh-day Adventist. And we had to read the Bible all the time, and at her church, every so often there was a competition to read a part of the Bible, with the kids. And I remember that for me also, apart from the history behind it, I would never get tired of reading it. I am a Christian. I believe in God. I don't go to churches, but I believe in Christianity, and but of course, sometimes I also feel, as a grown up of the last few years now, religion is what I think Karl Marx said is the opium of the people. So I don't like to be to the extremes of being Bible fanatic, but I love every so often read some of it. Yes. It grounds me. Yeah, it grounds me.
Best plate of food, Jesus?
Best plate of food? Oh yeah, easily. Something that I grew up with. Simple. Bolivia, all those years back, Santa Cruz, where I come from, wasn't a gastronomic experience, but you grew up with this. They do something that is almost like a risotto, mainly with sun-dried beef and fried eggs and fried plantain. You give me that on my last day of death row. I'll be like a child again because I grew up with it. I love it. I will never get tired of it. Beautiful. But naturally, luckily for my sins and for the way I work, I've eaten every bit of animal that runs in the world. Ever so often I try to be vegetarian, but it's tasty. I wouldn't do it all the time. But again, I understand, for example, that the vegetarian movement has grown a lot. So I do feel that a restaurant should have a smaller menu catering for vegetarians. Vegetarians can drink as much as a meat eater. So I think most of the chefs and proprietors, most of them, I say, maybe I'm wrong, they don't want to have a vegetarian menu because they feel perhaps that the spend per head will go down. But it depends how you prepare those dishes. Depends how much is there that you can put a vegetarian dish for 30 or 40 pounds, which is just as good as a normal price on the menu.
I think some of the most memorable dishes I've had have often been vegetarian because I haven't been expecting a lot.
Exactly.
And then a really amazingly prepared vegetarian dish that is full of flavour that you just can't do that at home. You can't deliver it,
No.
So,
But I think overall, there are dishes that they are magical.
Yeah.
So you say they explode on your tongue. And
that's it. Yeah.
No.
What's your easy meal at home?
My easy meal at home is what my little, my younger daughter, Millie, will have anytime, all the time, if possible. That would be pasta, like spaghetti with, we put a little bit of peas and tuna. There are some beautiful tin tuna from Spain. Like the albacore tuna. She loves it, and I love it because within half an hour you got a decent dinner.
Yeah.
So that's the easiest, tasty, laziest way to prepare something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, it
sounds delicious.
And of course, my wife also she likes to cook Bolivian food, and but she's adjusting now her taste bud to be more adventurous. Scallops, the shell, beautiful.
Jesus, it's been so fascinating listening to you today.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure to spend the morning with you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you very much.
Educational. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me. Certainly, it's the first and wonderful experience.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Drive for Service podcast. Follow us on Instagram at Medler Chelsea and make sure that you like and subscribe for future episodes.